Hey everybody, welcome to JDM World. Today we're going to talk about the Oculus Quest. You might think to yourself, why are we talking about the Quest? You can't even get the Quest. Well, the Quest is coming soon and people need to start making decisions around whether they want to go for the Quest or they want to go for the Rift. Or if they've got a Rift, do they want to go for the Quest or do they want to stay with the Rift? All right? So hopefully the details that we're going to lay out for you in this video can help you come up with a strategy around how you want to play in the virtual reality world. First, let's talk about the design differences between the Rift and the Quest. They both have the same general shape, and they also both have a similar tri-strap adjustable headset. And they also both have built-in audio. However, there are several differences that really differentiate the two units. The Quest is heavier, and it's heavier because it has both a built-in battery and CPU that allow it to be untethered from a computer. And thus not being tethered, it also has no cables, right? So this is a fully wireless solution. Everything from the headset to the controllers, there are no wires to tangle things up. On the front of the Quest, there'll be 4 cameras, and those cameras are what allows the unit to track your hands and give you 6 degrees of freedom. On the Rift, you have your traditional over-the-ear headphones. However, in the Quest, there's an audio solution built into the head strap, similar to what you would find in the Go. So when you're using the Quest, you should have better awareness of the outside environment, whereas in the Rift, it's a little bit harder to hear what's going on outside of the headset. Now let's talk about performance. The Quest is the most powerful standalone unit that Oculus has ever produced. It includes a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor with onboard graphics and 64 gigabytes of RAM. However, that really falls short of the performance that you can get out of a Rift. When you have a Rift connected to a PC that could be running anything up into and including an RTX 2080 or 2080 Ti, there's really not a straight comparison that you can make there. Without a doubt, the Rift is going to be more powerful than the Quest. While all that extra horsepower means the Rift can run more detailed visual scenes than the Quest can, and longer, since there's no battery that can run out, the Rift does have fewer pixels. The Rift uses a dual OLED panel, and you're going to get approximately 2160 by 1080 resolution, right? The Quest, however, also uses twin OLED displays, but those will give you about 3200 by 1440 total. So the Rift will not have as sharp a screen as the Quest has, and the Quest is potentially going to give you reduced screen door effect, which for some people is going to be a very big deal. But the Rift is going to have much better performance when it comes to texture, shaders, models, and all those kinds of things that you can really get out of that video card that's going to be in the PC. Finally, from a performance point of view, it's important to point out that the Rift is going to handle high-speed motion better than the Quest, right? So the Rift has a refresh rate of 90 Hertz, where the Quest is going to run at 72. And that's going to be a fairly significant difference, making things a lot smoother on the Rift. That could translate out to less motion sickness for some people, so that is something that you might want to consider. Now let's talk about tracking and controllers. Both the Rift and Quest are going to offer, very high-end tracking for 6 degrees of freedom in a large room-scale space, but they really go about this in different ways. The Rift uses the classic external tracking system that you also see in the HTC Vive, where the Quest uses what they call the inside-out version. So if you look at the Quest, you're going to notice that there are 4 cameras on the front, and those cameras are what will track your hands. This effectively can give the Quest an unlimited play space. I mean, you can walk around as much as you want since there are no cables, and the tracking is built into the headset. And some people have called this arena scale as opposed to room scale that you see in the Rift. And in the Rift, you get maybe 8 foot by 8 foot using 3 sensors. or a little bit more if you go up to 4 sensors. Whereas in the Quest, your room size is really unlimited, which really can add an interesting future design concept as people think about building games for this. The downside to the Quest tracking system, though, is that the controllers need to be within visual range of the cameras on the front of the headset, as opposed to the Rift, that the sensors are external, so your hands can be behind you or under you, one in front and one in back, and your head can be looking up or down, and it really doesn't impact the system's capability of tracking where your hands are in relation to your face. When you look at the controllers, they're very similar. The Quest uses an updated version of the Rift controller where they've relocated the tracking ring to facilitate the new tracking style for the headset, but I think gameplay is going to be very similar for both. Now let's talk a little bit about software. The Oculus Rift's been out on the market for going on 3 years now, and it's got a library of games and VR experiences and media, somewhere in the low thousands. Compared to that, a new device, the Quest, will have a very limited library. Now, just like any other new system, games and other things will be released quite quickly for this. But I think the most interesting thing to consider is that as ports of games are released for the Quest, for pre-existing games from the Rift, it's possible that you'll be able to pick those up for free. It's going to depend on the publisher, but there's some interesting rumors going around that a number of different publishers are going to allow people to grab the Quest port for nothing if they've purchased the game for the Rift. Considering all those things, what does that really mean though, right? So you've got the older unit, the Rift, that's more powerful, and then you've got the new version, the Quest, that is a lot more progressive. It's wireless, and it really has an eye toward the future. I think that the Quest is going to be really the gateway version device for a future device that really will be the mainstream gaming device. In this iteration, with the amount of horsepower that's going to be available to the Quest inside of the unit, it will be more appropriate for a casual gamer or someone who wants to consume media, much like you might do with the Go. Whereas the actual Rift, the older model, will be much more of a hardcore gaming solution. Now, one thing that you need to consider really is price. If you've not made the jump into VR at all at this point, the Quest is going to be a much more economical prospect for you. When you buy a Rift, you have to buy this PC, and you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 to buy a really high-end gaming machine that can push the Rift the way that it needs to be driven, right? As far as the Quest goes, the cost of the unit is it, right? And for somewhere around $400, the Quest is going to give you everything that you need to function, whereas that's just kind of half or a third of the cost when you look at jumping into a Rift. So at this point, I would say for those that have a Rift, there might not be a lot to gain from picking up a Quest. However, if you've not made the jump yet and you don't have a gaming PC burning a hole in your pocket, the Quest is going to be a great way to get into virtual reality gaming. Thanks for watching. Hopefully the details help you make a decision around what you want to do for your future VR needs. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the button below and subscribe. Thanks.